Right, right. Yeah, I got you. But I gotta ask you, I don't know if there's any truth to this, but when Tupac came to New York, right, is it true that he was his muscle? I think you said that. I think that came from you.
Absolutely. And Stretch was okay. Let me tell y'all about Randy Walker, aka Stretch. He was very well respected in the streets, very well respected in the streets of Queens, very well respected on Springfield Boulevard for doing whatever illegal activity that they were doing. I knew them because they was always in front of the liquor store. That's where they did whatever they did. So he was very well respected, even when he had beef with some cats from Southside, even when they had beef with Hollis crew dudes, he was very well respected. He was respected in other boroughs too. So everybody knew who Big Stretch was. So when Pac first started coming to New York a lot, he had Tretch in him in Jersey. Just Tretch in him was well respected. The Double I click out there, super respected in Jersey. And he had Stretch being super respected in New York City. Stretch, Madge, Homo, Gam, all of them little dudes were bust. They would bust their guns for real, man. Like this wasn't no joke. They was not a joke, bro. I got them from out of the streets into seriously recording and leaving that street life alone. Stretch was no joke, bro. He was no joke. He was seriously respected. When them cats came to me and they was doing their demo, and they was gonna do songs for their album, right? And they had songs and stuff, and I was like, why don't y'all explain to people in your songs why it is that you are what you are? Like when they did Murderer, right? It comes straight from the mind of a murderer. They tell the story of the kid that was getting good grades, and then they had come home from school. His pops had left the door open, and his mother and father got murdered. After that, he said, F the world, and he became a street kid, robbing people, and then becomes a hitman eventually. That's what I wanted them to portray, not just saying it to say it, but to say, this is the reason why this is what it is. This is the reason why I'm hustling. This is the reason why this kid's a stick-up kid. This is the reason why the street life is what it is. That's the part of them that I instilled with them, not just to be like everybody else, but to say why things were the way they were. And they were really in the streets. I held the AK-47 for Stretch in my mother's basement for a long time. He was really in the streets, dude. They was hustling. They was getting money. They were called the Young Guns. They were in the street. For real. Like for real, for real. And he was respected. So when Pac came to town and Pac was hanging out with him, Cass was like, that's Big Stretch from Queens. That motherfucker will bust his gun. Like for real.
So they wouldn't mess with Pac off the simple fact that, you know, he was cool with him.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I ain't know that. Do you remember a time where, you know, Stretch, he had to come to Pac defense?
Not in New York City. I remember all three of us getting thrown out of Magic City physically, but it was never like no beef, man, like in New York at that time. Like nobody was fucking around with Pac. Nobody would touch Pac. Everybody loved Pac, man. Pac used to be at my mom's house. He'd be on the block. He'd be at Stretch mom's house. We go to Apollo, man. I remember Tretch and them was doing the Apollo one night, and we jumped on the train, bro. But you got to understand the two different, what I call the two different phases of Tupac, right? There was Tupac, Digital Underground roadie. Then there was Tupac, who had just did Juice, who was just becoming into his own, and then just dropped Tupacalypse Now. When he dropped Tupacalypse Now, when my homies called and all that was on there, we had him on UMTV Raps Live Friday performing. You can see Big Stretch up there with him. The world wasn't fucking with Tupac like that, bro. The world wasn't on some Tupac frenzy shit. I'm telling you, I was there. Even after Brenda Got a Baby, all of that, it was like those are good records, but the frenzy didn't happen. I think when it really started bubbling is when he got into the beef with the two undercover police officers in Atlanta, and he shot one of them. That's when I think the news started really picking up that this cat, Tupac. And then once, you know, he got locked up, and then the quad shooting happened, and then that's when it really started snowballing, when everybody kind of knew. There was no internet. So everybody kind of knew what was going on with this cat named Tupac. Once he started getting on the news a lot for things other than rap, that's when everybody started really paying attention to him. And that's when Strictly for My Niggas came out. And then he was starting to build more and more momentum and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But it was the news stuff that really kind of propelled him into, I would say, where everybody knew who he was. Yeah, I remember we was at Jack the Rapper one year, and we're all on this rooftop party, and the security guy comes up and tells them, like, yo, man, y'all can't be smoking weed up here. So I'm like, yo, Pac, y'all need to chill, man, because I was always the dude that held the weed for him. And it was like, they was getting high, and the guy came back again, and Pac was like, get up, got my face, partner, we upstairs on the roof, why we can't smoke? And I was like, yo, the police is going to come. Everybody give me their weed. And let me take this weed in a box of blunts that I had, and I gave it to Nikki D. I said, Nikki D, hold this, because I knew the cops was coming. Yeah, the cops came, and they caught Pac with a roach, so they arrested him and took Madge down. I had to go down and get him out. And that was just Pac, man. It was going to be what it was going to be. You know what I mean?